Hi guys! My 2017 Hobonichi Weeks is finally here after an agonizing 3-week wait, which was not Hobonichi's fault. It was stuck in UK customs for a long time, and then it went to a depot far away from me and I couldn't pick it up for ages. But it's here now and I'm really happy and I'm looking forward to showing it to you. So this is the Daydream Weeks, which is by Sebastian Masuda, and it's this really colorful but kind of pastel cover. So you can see here, it's like a very elaborate photo montage of all of these different things. It's kind of hard to see what they are, but it's kind of fun because if you look at it, you can like pick out some items. There are like teddy bears of different kinds, and there's some beads and all kinds of like different bizarre things, and it's just really interesting and fun to look at. And the overall effect is this very cool kind of psychedelic kaleidoscope, and it's symmetrical. If you open up the front and back covers, you get this view, which I think is really awesome. It says 2017 in metallic turquoise, which I really like. It's kind of hard to see amid all of the colors, but I like it. And then it also says 2017 in metallic blue on the spine, which might be hard to see as well. And then on the back it says Hobonichi, again in metallic blue, and here it says Sebastian Masuda, who's the artist. And it's a very shiny cover. You can probably see that on camera. It's hard cover, but it's quite bendy. So it's like a sort of hard cardboardy feel, but it's very glossy, which is interesting because a lot of the other week's covers are not like that. So I think it just has a really cool overall effect. As you can see from my 2016 weeks, this is not the sort of thing that I would normally go for. I was expecting just to go for a kind of plain color, but I didn't like any of the plain color ones that they had this year. So I went for this one, and I'm so glad that I did, because how can you not be happy looking at this? It just really makes me smile every time I see it, and I can't wait to start using it. So I just thought that I would give you an overview, particularly in comparison to the 2016 weeks, in case you've got that and are thinking about getting this and want to see what's different, what's the same. So first of all, when you open it, you have this really nice, like kind of linen-y sort of feeling, very thick cardstock end pages, and I love these because they say hobo in this cool pattern here. Then it says Hobonichi Techo 2017 weeks, and there is a small difference here from the 2016 version. You can see what that one looks like. So that one just says 2016 in bigger letters here, and then it says Hobonichi Techo weeks down at the bottom. I added the stickers, obviously. So that's a bit of a design change. I like both of them. I don't really have a strong preference one way or the other. Then we get the calendars, which are also the same, and the holidays. And then we get the vertical year on 2 pages, which is the same as well. I really like this vertical week on 2 pages to use for tracking, although it could also be used for all kinds of different things. I think that's a really nice thing about it, is that it's so flexible. You get these boxes at the top where you can either like kind of list things that you're going to be tracking and then track them down below. Or I used this last year, as you can see here, because this was my first weeks and I got it in, late September, early October, and it doesn't start until December, and this doesn't start until January. So I was really keen to start using it earlier, and so I used these boxes up above just to start tracking the things that I wanted to track, because I started using the weeks like a couple of months early. So if you are in that position like me, then you could use these boxes for that. Then we have the month on 2 pages, and I think this is one of the biggest differences from last year, and one that I'm really happy about, which is that each day has the same number of squares. Last year, Sunday was smaller. So as you can see here, Sunday only had 5 grids, whereas the other days had 6, and I can't figure out how they've changed it. I've counted, and everything seems to have the same number of grids, so it was some kind of miracle of design that they have managed to do that. But I think that's a big improvement. It's just a really nice month on 2 page spreads. You've got these 4 boxes at the bottom, which I always use for online order tracking. I think this is a convenient place to put it. And I used I use my monthly spread. Well, I'm going to talk about this more. I'm going to do a setup of my current weeks, but at the moment I'm using this as a gratitude log and a kind of vision book, like a list of things that I'd like to happen on the side. But obviously there's endless possibility for what you can use this for. As usual, the Sundays are in red, and also Japanese national holidays. It's a Monday start. That's the only option for the weeks, which I prefer anyway. So the month on 2 pages starts in December 2016, which is good because you can move into it a month early. And it goes until, March 2018, if you can imagine. So something that they don't do in the weeks, which they do in the cousin and the A6, is they don't put the year in grey in big numbers when it goes into the next year. So potentially you could mix this monthly spread up with the March 2017 spread, even though it's labeled here at the top but in small letters. So I'm just mentioning that in case you're not familiar with the weeks, but you do know the cousin and the A6. That's a difference, but it's a very small thing. I quite like that feature, but I don't mind that they don't have it here. And then we go into the weekly spread. So the weeks is a week on one page on the left, and then it's got a page of gridded notes on the right. The paper in this, which hasn't changed from last year, is quite cream colored as opposed to the A6 and the cousin, which is much whiter. So you can see here, this is the A6 for comparison. You can see that this is a much kind of more creamy, yellowy color. I like both of them, so that doesn't bother me, but it is different. It's Tomoe River paper, just like the A6 and the cousin, and it's very, very thin and lightweight, which is how they can fit this whole planner and all of the notes pages into it in such a compact space. So the weekly spread has a Monday start, and then you've got this little horizontal spread per day going down until Sunday, and again Sundays are marked in red. It has the days in both Japanese and English, which is different from 2016, where the days were only in English, which I always thought was a little bit odd. So I'm glad that they've added in the Japanese there. You have two little dots. Let's see if you can see them. They're almost imperceptible. One here and one here that divide the page into thirds. And you have one on each line, so it goes all the way down. So if you wanted to, you could divide your spread by putting a line here, or you can just use these dots as guidance, which I sometimes do. You don't even have to actually bother drawing it in if you're very bad with rulers and drawing straight lines like I am. And that shows you, you could divide these into thirds, so you could have like events, tasks, and meal planning here, or whatever else you want, or you could just ignore it. Then on the other side, you have this gridded note paper, which is great because you can use this either for to-do lists, as a bullet journal, notes, whatever you want. I use this for events and for finance tracking, and then I use this for daily to-dos. So you could just leave it as it is and kind of, use this as your guideline, or you could actually draw in the lines so that you've got this divided into daily sections and you have like one big horizontal strip per day. There's also this line, so the grids are dotted, and there's this one solid line going down about a third of the way across the page, which you could use if you wanted to for headers. Say you wanted to use this as a list and you wanted to, make this portion into headers, or say if you wanted to have a shopping list here and then your other to-dos on this side. I have used this at some point over the last year. So at one point I was using this for shopping lists, and then I was using this for other to-dos. Right now I'm not using it, so you can just ignore it. It doesn't really, stand out to your eyes. It's quite unobtrusive, so if you want to ignore it, you can. You always have the month number and then the name of the month and the year at the top, and it also gives you the week at the top. So this is the 48th week. It's November 2016. This is the first week, and this is when I will start using it because I cannot resist moving into a new planner as soon as it's humanly possible, sometimes even earlier. Now, this is one of the biggest changes from last year, and I'm really disappointed about this. So in 2016, you had 3 lines at the bottom, 3 dotted lines that you could just use for extra notes that weren't tied to a specific day. And I really like this. I use this for all kinds of things, like websites that I, just want to note down somewhere, or let's say this week when we came back from Wales and there were a bunch of packages waiting for me, lots of planner happy mail, and I noted down what I was expecting so I could make sure that everything had arrived while we were gone and nothing had gone missing. Phone numbers, just kind of random stuff. I really, really find it useful. And this year they've taken that away because apparently they were getting comments that it was hard for people to know what to use it for. And so they've decided to spread the quotes over both pages. Now, obviously, I don't read Japanese. I mean, I can read some of the hiragana, but I don't understand very much of it. So the quotes are sort of lost on me anyway. But I think that even if I did read Japanese, I'm not a massive quote person in planners. I would prefer just to have more writing space. So I really, really think that's a shame. It's not a complete disaster because I've looked through it and usually most of the quote is on the left-hand side. So you do have some space on the right-hand side, but it's kind of messy. It doesn't have the lines like it did last year, and it's not sort of dedicated writing space because you do still have bits of quotes down at the bottom. So you could use this for writing down notes, and sometimes there's a bit of blank space here, but I wish that they had just left this completely as writing space because I think that would be much more useful. So we'll see. I hope that they rethink that in future years, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a small thing. I just really, really liked having this extra space here. So that's a shame. As usual, you have the month marked on the side, so you can see here on the side it kind of goes down the side of the planner, which is nice. I never actually really use that though. I always use bookmarks to find my place. Speaking of which, it comes with 2 bookmarks, and so you can use one to mark the weeks and one to mark the months, or one to mark the weeks and then another one to mark wherever you are in the notes pages. I cut these off last year because they sort of bugged me. I didn't think that I would like using them, and I used the top to tie some charms to, and then in the end I ended up cutting all of that off as well. So you can see this one doesn't have any bookmarks, and I've just been using these sticky bookmarks which come from the Hobonichi shop as well, and these have worked really well. But I'm thinking that at least for the beginning that I'll try out the bookmarks for the months and the weeks and see how it goes, because there's something quite neat and compact about just having the 2 bookmarks. So I'll see if that works. So the brilliant thing about the weeks is that the planner ends here, and then you have 72 pages of notes, which is just incredible. It's unheard of in a planner this size, and that's obviously due to the amazing Tomoe River paper. So the notes pages obviously can be used for anything that you want. I use mine for a combination of kind of collections, like in a bullet journal. And I think for this year, I'm only going to have 4. I'm going to have a list of planner videos that I want to make, a wish list for things that I want to buy, mostly planner supplies, but anything kind of long-term that I want to buy, but not something that I'm going to buy immediately, TV shows and films that I want to watch, and discount codes for things like Etsy and other planner supply shops. The notes pages have increased by 1 since last year, so you can see there were 71 in 2016, and now there's 72, which kind of like because it's an even number, and it was always a little bit disconcerting that it ended on an odd number, although I think that 70 would really be perfect, but it doesn't matter. More pages is always good. So on the first page, you have this index, which is really nice. So you've got page here, and that has a solid line, and then you have subject, which is a dotted line. And it's got this little list of abbreviations, which I never use. And then the note pages are just the same as the gridded pages in the calendar, as in they have a dotted grid, and then they have this line going down kind of a third of the way through here, which you can ignore if you want to. I always ignore it. I always feel like I should do something with it, to make use of it since it's there, but I just don't know what to use it for because I like using these as just as notes pages. A really, really cool thing about them is that they're numbered. So you see here it's 01, 02, and so it's really easy if you want to use it for something where indexing is important, then it's great because they're pre-numbered. And I love when pages are numbered professionally, and I just, it's like with the Leuchtturms as well, I think that's one of their major selling points is that the pages are numbered, so I love how these are numbered. So it carries on until page 72. And then you get the usual Hobonichi information. This I think is new, this map of Japan, I like that. And then this is also new, it's some like information about cats and dogs. I think it's a website, which I've also seen people mention, that like comes in with the order when you get your Hobonichi. But I never use any of this information in the back anyway, so I would actually prefer it if there are even more notes pages here. But 70 is a good number. I've been using this all year, and I've been kind of sparing with them in that I had in mind that I didn't want to run out, but I've actually got quite a few left over. And, you know, it's comfortable. It's not like I have not let myself use them. I've pretty much used them for everything that I really wanted to. So I think it's a really, really good number of pages. It's not enough to have... Let's see, it's enough to have one notes page per week and some extras as well. So if you wanted to use this as like a supplement to your weekly, you know, the weekly to-do list, you could assign one of these per week, and then you'd have like 12 or some number of pages left over. I'm terrible at maths, but anyway, something like that. I do actually use this page. I've used this to note down addresses of planner friends, like for sending racks to, and like sometimes shops that I wanted to go to, and you know, just things like that. And I think that they have shortened this. I can't open the other one because I've got some addresses in it, but I have a feeling that there was more like a double page spread last year. So if that's true, that's kind of a shame. And then you have your serial number on the back, and then you have another end page with the same design. And there's something really cool in this that they didn't have last year. In the very bottom, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but right here, sort of embedded in the Hobo logo, which, you know, goes over the whole page, it says, Nandemo nai nichi amedetou. I think Nandemo nai nichi is like sort of just everyday days, like days where nothing is going on, and I don't know what amedetou means. So Planner Girl 777, if you're watching, please let me know what this means. But I think that this is the same thing that it says in the back pocket of the A6 and A5 Hobonichi covers, and I think that it's something like even everyday days can be special or something like that, but I might be getting that wrong. I think that I heard somebody saying that. Anyway, I think that's really cool how it's just hidden in there, and it's kind of like a tie-in with the A5 and A6 covers, which is really cool. And last year it wasn't there. This, I mean, you won't really be able to see it, but this just said hobo, 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 hobo. So I like that. I think that's a nice touch. Then, as always with the weeks, you get this plastic pocket, which you can put somewhere on the weeks so that, you know, you have a little pocket, although I think most of us use this with some kind of cover, so this might not necessarily be useful, but it never hurts. I'm using my current one for this little wallet-sized picture of my dog Panda. So you have that, and then you get this railway map of Japan, which is not useful if you don't live in Japan, unless you like railway maps. But obviously if you do live in Japan, then it is useful. And then this particular week's comes with this little card that says Masuda Sebastian, Hobonichi Techo 2017, and it's got some information about the artist. So that's it. This is the 2017 Daydream Hobonichi Weeks. So I hope you enjoyed this. I can't wait to start using it. It's kind of agony that I still have to wait until the beginning of December. But let me know if you have any questions about this that I didn't answer in the video. And I'll be back again very soon with a walkthrough of my new A6 Hobonichi. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!